Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today's project is going to be this Zebco Adventurer. This reel belonged to my brother. This is the second of my brother's series. He only had two reels that I had, or that I've gotten hold of, and this is his second one. I did the Shakespeare Alpha previously, and now we're going to do this Zebco Adventurer. And since I haven't done one of these, that ought to be kind of fun to do. And we are going to start off by removing the handle. Now, if I can get the right screw nut driver, that is. There we go. Okay, let's take off the. And this is a Zebco reel that does have a star drag. A lot of Zebcos do not. Most of them have different styles, but this one has a star drag. So we're going to go ahead and loosen that up, take that off, set that over to the side. Here's a washer for it. Okay. And let's go ahead, take off the cover, and I'm probably going to have to put that handle back on. Yeah, in order to get this to unscrew off of here, I'm probably going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to tighten down the drag. Tighten it down good and tight, and then hold on to the handle while I unscrew this. And the drags are slipping, so let's see if I can tighten it down some more. And I hate when things get like this. All right, so that's not coming loose. So what I'm going to have to do is get in here, and I'm going to have to break this axle shaft loose. And this axle shaft most likely is not going to want to come out the front or out the back. And it cannot come out the back with this rotor on. So what I've got to do is try to get the spring off of here. If I can get the spring off, then I can... with the spring off, I should be able to take and slide the rotor out the front. And I'll tell you what, let's try it. I don't want to try too hard on this. A trick that I learned from Tommy Modisette, which is to wedge a rag into the gears. And but I've broken two reels so far doing this, so I don't want to get too carried away. If it gets too tight, I'm going to stop. Got it, Tommy. I think I did. Nope. The nut come. Okay, there we go. We got a nut on there. Take the nut off. And yeah, I kind of spun out the center a little bit. Let's see if I can get the rag out. And I'm going to, there we go. And I think I kind of spun that just a little bit, but I'm going to tap that down. It doesn't look like it had a flat on it, although it might have. And right there, I think I'll tap that down on my anvil and see if I can't flatten that back in just a little bit. Okay, we'll take this off. There's line trapped underneath it, and that probably is why it was so tight. Because now, if the line isn't trapped under it, it's now spinning freely. Okay, now again, like I told you, this most likely was not going to be able to come out of the back. So the only way this is going to come out is if we take the spring off right here. And that can be a daunting task. But what I think we're going to do instead is we are going to soak the entire reel. Nah, I really want to have to, I'm going to have to take this apart. Okay, let's see if I can see where the end of the spring is. It's right there. Okay, and what I got to do is we got to get that little tip off the end of that spring and get it to come up over this shoulder. And this is where I end up stabbing my fingers and all kinds of other things trying to get it to happen. But this one looks like it's going to do it fairly easy, I think. Okay. So far, yeah, it looks like it's going to work right around. Okay, we're going to rotate this around to be able to get to the other side of it. There we go. Rotate it some more. Get some more of it up. There we go. Can you see? Yeah, you can still see. All right. Rotate it around again. Let's get hold of it again. Slide it up. There we go. Spring's off. Once that spring's off, now this axle shaft will come out the front. All right. You get that off. We can now take the pinion gear off and look and see if you've got a shim washer here or sitting on the front of the gear. We do not. Okay. With that off, we can now go ahead and take out all of this. That's our main gear, our crankshaft, everything. All right, we've got a shim washer here. Okay, there's our shim washer. So we're going to be cleaning that up. We're not going to have to soak any of these parts. They're going to clean up just fine right here on the table. And we do not have a drag washer on that side. We do have a drag washer on this side. So it has a single drag washer. I would have thought it would have one on each side, but it did not. Okay. One single drag washer. And there is our anti-reverse claw. And at that point, we'll take off this extra line, get it out of the way, and there it is. There's the body cleaned up, pretty nice. We're going to wipe off the axle shaft, the spring, for the axle shaft. The pinion gear, I've got to put a little work into that still. But the main gear seems like it's going to wipe off just fine. It does not have a bunch of old grease on it. It cleaned up quick and simple. Set it over here. This is our drag. I would call it a drag slash anti-reverse tube. And it goes there. This piece is our crankshaft. This piece is our drag washer. Over here we have a spring sitting in here. Okay. This is our star drag knob. Right there. And wow, it's got a casting blob on it. It's never been trimmed off. We can take care of that. That should have been done at the factory, because you could actually cut yourself on that little plastic blob. There we go. Got that removed off of there. All right. Let's start putting this back together. We'll start off with our crankshaft. Onto the crankshaft goes this drag washer. That drag washer, actually, the best way to show it is sitting inside of the main gear like this. You do not want to oil or grease this. Leave it dry, and then set the crankshaft in here like this. And that's just going to kind of waller around in there, and that's what's going to happen until this piece goes in. Now when this goes in, it should drop in, and I would have thought that there would be a drag washer on this side over here, but there's not. So they've only got one drag washer. All your tension's going to be on that one. Okay, that's into there, and that's all together. That makes that part simple. Oh, the shim washer down to there. All right, now we've got this anti-reverse claw. It's going to go in here like so, like that. But we need to oil it where it goes. Put just a little oil inside the hole, set it in place. There we go, and we're going to get it to hold like that. And we're going to take oil inside this hole where the crankshaft slash drag main gear tube goes. Okay, slide this down in there. There's the anti-reverse. See how it works? Rotates fine forward. We go to reverse, it drops down and locks. Okay, onto this end, we're going to put this spring. No. First, it's going to go this washer, like that. Then goes this spring. And then goes this nut. Or the drag knob. Okay, now you got to pay attention when you're putting this together, or you end up with this. If you look, our drag washer is no longer centered. It's slid off to one side. So we're going to loosen the knob, and then we're going to slide that drag washer over until it's down in that groove that's cut for it. Okay? Otherwise, we're not going to have a good drag at all. Okay? Okay, with that done, we've got our axle shaft. We'll take that and we're going to oil it. We're going to set our pinion gear. Yeah, hang on, I got to clean that up a little bit. Go. We're going to set our pinion gear down inside here like this, and then we're going to slide that axle shaft in, get it to slide into the pinion gear, and that pinion gear's got a flat side on it, a D shape, and you've got to get that axle shaft to flat in that to line up with the one in the pinion gear. And there's the flat. There we go. Get the slide in. Okay. See if we've got a good ride. Seems that we do. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to take the spring, slide the spring back on, and then we got to, just like that, that's all it takes, okay, to get that to lock back into place. Now, we're going to grease up the main gear, but we want to keep the grease off of that drag washer, okay? So keep it on the outside edge here. Eventually, it may get down there, but it works much better if it isn't greased or oiled. There we go, and then we'll put some on the pinion gear, and then we're going to put some on this shaft where it slides. There we go. All right, this part is ready to go back together. That goes into the case over here. We're going to put just a little dab of grease. Oh, hang on, the button fell out. There we go, get the button lined up. I'm going to put just a dab of grease on the end of it right there, like that, and hold it in place while we set this back into the case, like that. And if we've got it right, that's what we should see. Okay. All right. Next to go on is going to go this shaft. Hang on, I haven't taken this over and pinned it back down. All right, when I peened that back down, we got a flat spot here. We're going to set that flat spot on the flat of the shaft, like so. And it appears that there was a washer on here, although I did not see a washer come off of this. And then there's a nut. I think the nut, I gotta find a hole for that washer. We're gonna go back and look, find out where that washer comes, because this nut goes on here like so. All right, with a little bit of investigation work, I found where the washer goes. You unscrew this nut back off of here, and pop this spinner head back off. You will see that there was a washer right there, and I've never seen one there before. This was new to me. But if you look, when you push forward on the button, the washer comes up with it, and the pin right here on the spinner head actually drops underneath that washer and sits up on this ledge. So it works just fine once you know what it is and what it's doing. I think that actually beefs up this spinner head and makes it a little bit stronger. All right, because this is pretty thin material that they made the spinner head out of. Okay, so let me see what we're going to have to do. How do we get that pin to go under there to begin with? That's the question. Okay, it looks to me like it's going to need a little bit of persuasion by taking and kind of gluing it on with a piece of a little bit of grease up under there like that. With that done, we can set it over here. And now it will be over top of that pin instead of under it. There we go. All right. That's tight. Let's go ahead and give this a shot of oil on that pin right there. And when we hit the button, it should go out. The pin should drop in, which it did. As we rotate it, the pin's going to drop back out, just like that. All right. Let's get hold of the line if we can and see. Now I plan to replace this line, so if I mess it up a little bit, so be it, because it's coming off anyway. We need to get hold of some line somewhere. So let's see what I can get to happen here. Eventually, one of these is going to end up being the end. There we go. Okay. Set that back inside. Like that. And I'll put some new line on this. Let's wipe this down, because what we want to see is, does the drag work? Yep, let the button pop out. Okay, hold it down, slide that in, put the line through the nut, our nose, screw this down, push the button, there's the line feed. Okay, good. Let's set a handle on. And let's put the nut on. And let's see what we got. And we should have maximum drag right now. We don't. Let's try. Okay, well, yeah, we got more we can tighten down the drag. Oh, yeah. Loosen it up a little bit. There you go. There's the drag. All right. There you have the Zebco Adventurer reel. And as I said, I'm going to strip the line off of these two. This one and the Shakespeare. Get new line put on them, and I'm going to get them in the mail to Brian. If he'd like to have them, I'd certainly like to send them to him. But for now, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like. And for now, that's Rick Stivers, the Young Martin's Reels, signing out.